Hi Fortress families, it's Chris. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. This video is for both preschool parents and after-school parents. What I'm going to be doing today is going over the amendments to the policies and procedures. So that's the changes that we've made for the 2020-2021 school year. Also, I'm going to be going over the COVID-19 release and waiver of liability. I'm going over both of these because we're going to require on the first day that this paperwork be turned in. So I'm sending an email to everybody with these documents attached. If you're able to view them from your email and print them, then please print them and sign them and bring them with you the first day that you bring your child to Fortress. If you're unable to print it for any reason, let me know if you can. Otherwise, we will have copies available for you to sign, but in the interest of time, I'm hoping that you can at least watch this video or read the documents in your email, or both, so that way you'll be able to sign a lot quicker the first day of class, because it's going to be pretty busy that morning with the few parents that'll need to do that, and it's perfectly fine if that's what you need to do. Also, I'll be going over what drop off and pickup looks like. Anything that's not included in this, I'll kind of give you an idea of what to expect when you first arrive at Fortress. As always, if you have any sort of questions or comments or anything, please feel free to text me from the number that I've been texting you from all summer, 817-682-6682. Again, that's 817-682-6682. All right, so let's start with the amendments to the policies and procedures for the 2020-21 school year. Procedures for COVID-19 symptoms or exposure. Any staff member or student, as well as members of their households, may not attend Visit Fortress if they or any member of the household has or has been in close contact with anyone who has a suspected or confirmed case of COVID-19. For example, having had close contact at school, work, or religious service or social gatherings. So that goes for both if they have a confirmed case of COVID-19 or if you suspect that they have. Also, you may not visit or attend Fortress if you've traveled internationally or domestically from any area which is the subject of travel restrictions under applicable state and local guidance. Exposure to COVID-19. If a household member has close contact with a person who is lab confirmed to have COVID-19, all members of the household must self-quarantine for 14 days. Should no symptoms present during quarantine, readmission to Fortress programs will be allowed after 14 days from the date that you initially had contact with anyone in the household has had contact with somebody who has a confirmed case of COVID-19. If that happens, you have to wait 14 days. The same applies to our employees. Should a student or a member of his or her household be diagnosed with COVID-19 or just present any of its symptoms, he or she may only be readmitted when these three things have happened. At least 7 days have passed since any household member, including the student, first experienced the symptoms, and symptoms have improved for any household member, including the student, that experienced respiratory symptoms, for example, cough or shortness of breath has improved, and the household, including the student, has been fever-free for at least 72 hours, 3 days, without the use of fever-reducing medicines. So, if you either are diagnosed with COVID-19 or simply have the symptoms and it might be COVID-19 but you don't know, those three things have to happen. At least 7 days have passed since the child or anyone in the household has experienced symptoms. The symptoms have improved and you've gone 3 days without a fever, and that's without taking Tylenol or something that would normally reduce fever. So readmission may be allowable before the 7-day quarantine is up only if A verifiable doctor's note is provided stating a diagnosed illness other than COVID-19. This allowance will be at the sole discretion of the Fortress executive staff. And basically what this means is if you're looking for a way to come back sooner than the 7 days, if you can see a doctor and the doctor says your cough is due to asthma, for example, and can write that out in a note from the doctor, and that's presented to us, then we can make the decision whether or not to let you come back early. Okay, if a student becomes sick or presents symptoms while at Fortress, they will be sent home immediately. They will be isolated near the front desk away from other students until a parent or approved guardian picks them up. Parents will have 1 hour from the first phone call to pick up their child. Failure to do so will result in immediate expulsion, and readmittance will not be considered until COVID-19 is no longer a threat to our community. If a parent fails to answer the phone, we will immediately begin working down the list of approved pickup persons until a contact is made. So, we will be monitoring kids for the various symptoms of COVID-19. That includes a fever, runny nose, cough. There's an extensive list that you'll become familiar with because every morning I'll be asking if y'all have experienced any of the symptoms. But we have to take it very seriously because if one child ends up having COVID-19 and we don't do anything about it, then the whole all of Fortress could be shut down. And so our goal is to keep Fortress open and be able to serve y'all and be able to serve the kids. And we're taking all the measures that we can to try to keep everybody safe. And so also it's important that your child needs to be, if we notify you that your child needs to be picked up, they need to be picked up within 1 hour, or else you won't be able to come back to Fortress. Because as long as that child is there, your child would risk infecting other people at Fortress. We do have a safe place for the child that I actually built myself for the child to stay while the parent comes. I'll be watching over them until the parent arrives or grandparent, and then those areas will be not used for 24 hours and will be cleaned as required. COVID-19 precautions and personal protection equipment. Fortress is taking the following precautions to preserve the safety and integrity of our facilities, staff, and students. All classrooms whose students are all over 3 years old or 3 years old or over will be provided with gaiters, which are comfortable face coverings that are worn around the neck and pulled up over the mouth and nose. So they kind of hang out on your neck and then you can pull it up. And we will be providing the personal protective equipment such as the gaiters or masks because we will keep them clean and we don't have to worry about any sort of cross-contamination or anything like that, and it's just safer if we provide those for your children. They will be worn around the neck at all times, but only pulled up over the face when close contact is required, such as circle times, one-on-one work, and centers, place centers when kids are in close quarters. When working independently at tables, playing outside, or at meal times, gaiters will not be pulled up. And so that is for the kids under 10 years old, but 3 and over. All persons over the age of 10 will wear face coverings at all times, no exceptions. Of course, while they're eating, they won't be wearing their face masks. That would be impossible. But we do have the cafeteria. Normally we have it in one place. We're having it take place in 2 different places, and there's appropriate distance between each of where the kids will be sitting. And then also after they complete their lunch, will be most likely me will be going in and also sanitizing and cleaning after tables are used. All persons will be required to change clothes if any bodily fluids, theirs or another person's, comes in contact with their clothing. This includes sneezes, spit up, urine, etc. Fortress will provide clothing for students who do not provide an extra change of clothes themselves. Contactless pickup and drop off. Students may be dropped off between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. Breakfast is served until 9 a.m. Van Zant Gwen students' online learning will begin promptly at 9 a.m. for the after-school kids. Late arrivals are not permitted unless pre-approved by me or Miss Maria. So last year, preschool, for the preschool parents, preschool, you were able to come until 10 o'clock. For now, it's going to be 9 o'clock as long as the COVID things are going on. So we'll just have, you can arrive between 8 and 9. Breakfast will occur between 8 and 9, so it also is beneficial for your child if the earlier they get there, they can have breakfast. So your student will be met at your vehicle by either me or Miss Maria and escorted to their classrooms each morning. In the afternoon, they will be brought directly to your car. Parents and guardians will be responsible for unbuckling car seats upon arrival and securing the child in their car seat or their seat belt at pickup. Late pickups are not permitted. Do everything in your power to pick up your children on time. Abuse of this request may lead to expulsion at the discretion of Fortress leadership staff. The preschool hours will be 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. So please pick up your child by 2 p.m. After school hours, while schools are closed, the after school hours are from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And again, please pick up your child by 5 p.m. After school hours, when school reopens, will be the normal 3 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. So what the morning would look like, we ask that you get out of your car and get your child out of the car if they're in a car seat. We ask that you wear a mask while you do that because either I or Miss Maria will be in fairly close quarters with you, and we'll be wearing masks as well. So we ask, if possible, if your child's in a car seat, to have them on the right side of the car, so as you pull up to the curb, they don't have to get out into the street and go between cars. So if it's possible, if they can be in the right back seat, that would be great. And again, wear your mask. And I will talk a little bit more about what the morning will look like at the end of all this. Student attendance. Our required 75% attendance rate is on hold until COVID-19 is under control and or Fortress programs return to normal. This return to normal programming and policies will be at the sole discretion of the Fortress executive staff and will be communicated via email, text, and phone. The parent engagement requirement. Normally we require 12 hours a year. The parent engagement required hours are on hold until COVID-19 is under control and or programs return to normal. For those parents who want to stay as engaged as possible in the absence of in-person classes and groups, we will provide periodic activities for you to do at home, as well as occasional groups and learning opportunities on Zoom or Facebook. So we still have plans to offer some parent groups. They'll just look a little bit different and be online. And I'll be getting you more information on that. But we won't be requiring the hours at this time. So if things return to normal, then we will revisit it and maybe it'll be reduced hours. We'll just have to see what happens because everything changes every day with COVID-19. So parent acknowledgement. So then you will just, so that's just, again, this will be emailed to you, but it looks like this. So you could print that out. If you can print it out, print it, sign it, bring it with you. It is required for you to drop off your child the first day of classes for both preschool and after school, but we will have copies available that you can sign there. Now, the COVID-19 release and waiver of liability. I'm just going to read through this because that way if you watch this video then maybe, and you can't print it or read your email, you'll have heard this and might be able to sign it a little bit quicker the morning of, if that's what you need to do. So the COVID-19 release and waiver of liability. The World Health Organization has declared the novel coronavirus, COVID-19, a worldwide pandemic. Due to its capacity to transmit from person to person through respiratory droplets, the government has set recommendations, guidelines, and some prohibitions. Fortress is committed to comply with, and in some cases exceed, the guidelines set forth by the CDC and Tarrant County Health Department to help contain the spread of COVID-19 in our facility and greater community. In consideration of my children's enrollment and participation at Fortress, the undersigned acknowledge and agree to the following. Number one, I understand that COVID-19 coronavirus is considered to be extremely contagious and can result in a range of symptoms which include but are not limited to fever, shortness of breath, fatigue, loss of taste or smell, and nausea or vomiting. These symptoms can be mild or severe, sometimes resulting in death. I understand that COVID-19 is primarily spread by person to person. A person does not have to be showing signs of illness in order to spread the virus. For additional information on the spread and effects of COVID-19, I understand that I can visit the CDC website at www.cdc.gov/coronavirus/2019-ncov/index.html. I acknowledge that number two, I acknowledge that the risk of person-to-person spread of the COVID-19 is increased by close physical contact and activities associated with the daily school/child care environment, which include but are not limited to participation in group play, the touching of shared toys, and eating together in a cafeteria setting. I acknowledge that participation in Fortress's preschool and or after-school programs could increase the risk of transmitting or contracting COVID-19. I recognize that I am fully and personally, number three, I recognize that I am fully and personally responsible for my household's safety and actions as they pertain to helping contain the spread of COVID-19 and commit to helping protect my household, Fortress, and our community by diligently watching for exposure and symptoms and by adhering to self-quarantine as necessary. And number four, and final one, with full knowledge of the risks involved, I hereby release, waive, and discharge Fortress, its board, employees, affiliates, contractors, volunteers, and assigns from any and all liabilities, claims, demands, actions, and causes of actions whatsoever, directly or indirectly arising out of loss, damage, illness, injury, or death that may be sustained by me, my child, or children, or my household that may be related to COVID-19 while participating in any activity at Fortress that may lead to unintentional exposure or harm due to COVID-19. And then it goes on to say, I, as a parent and or legal guardian, have read and fully understand and acknowledge the contents of this release. I represent that I have full authority to sign on behalf of my child or children, and that my signature binds each other person having authority to make decisions on behalf of the child or children. So this is what that looks like. And so if you're able to, you can print and sign that and bring that with you. So these two documents will be required. If you are starting preschool, that starts this Monday, which as I'm recording this on a Sunday, it's actually tomorrow. That's August 31st. And so both of these will be required. If you're not able to print it, we will have copies there that you can print. And that'll be printed that you can sign. At Fortress, what we've done is we've put up signs marking the loading zone so that no one can actually park there. So that way when you pull up, there'll be a nice big space where you can pull up. So we ask that you pull all the way up to where you can still, pull out around, because there'll be at least, one car parked at the end, probably an employee, where the sign is. So pull up to where you can still pull out and get out, but pull up to that sign, and then either myself or Maria will come up to the car. We'll ask you some questions about whether or not you or anyone in your household have had symptoms. You will hopefully we need you to be wearing a mask, and as we will. and you will get your car out or child out of the car if that's necessary, if they're in a child seat, and then we will take them to the class. So if you can, stay in your car until you get pulled up. Either Maria or I come to your car at that point, then we can get your child out. But that way it'll allow hopefully traffic to flow. So when somebody gets done, you're able to pull up in their spot, if that makes sense. Like I said, if you have, and then pickup will be basically the same thing. Now, if you arrive to pick up your child early, or you just pull up to pick up your child, please don't come inside. My phone number will be on the sign that's out there, and just text me and say, hey, Chris, I'm out front. Can you bring me my child? Or just say that I'm out front, and I'll come out and talk to you and figure out who you're picking up. But that'll be the best way, if you can just stay in your car and text me if I don't happen to see you pull up, because I am at different times going to be cleaning different things and away from my desk. And the front door we keep locked for safety reasons. Also, as far as entering in, parents, any visitors entering into Fortress, we screen all employees, all visitors, all volunteers. We have to check whether or not they've been in contact with somebody with COVID. Also, whether or not they have any symptoms or had any symptoms. We also take their temperature. We have them sanitize their hands or wash their hands. So as a parent, if for some reason you do need to come into the building, you'll have to be able to pass that screening in order to go to stay in the building. And again, taking your temperatures is part of it. So I hope that I covered everything. I know it's a lot. I appreciate you guys, the ones that stayed to the end of this. I really appreciate it. I know it's a lot of stuff, but I wanted to be able to cover everything, so that way, if you watch this video, then you should be able to. If you wait till the morning of to sign the paperwork, you'll be able to. As for the after-school program, that's from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. during school hours. That will start next Tuesday, the September the 8th. That Monday is a holiday on the 7th, so we'll start on the 8th. Also, one final note, if you are called to pick up your child because they're showing symptoms, and again, you need to pick them up within the hour. And also, just as a reminder, if you don't answer your phone, we'll immediately start going down your list of authorized pickups until we get a hold of somebody to make sure they can come pick up your child, because it's important for your child's and everyone else's safety that they get picked up fairly quickly. But what I will be doing when you come to pick up your child, I'll have you come into the building and get your child. That way I'll be able to maintain my distance as opposed to walking them out to the car. So that's one of the exceptions there. So you'll just kind of quickly come in, and I'll show you where they are. They'll be up near the front desk, and you'll be able to take your child home. So anyway, thanks again for watching this video, for sticking it out to the end. If you have any questions or anything, please feel free to call me. 817-682-6682. Again, that's 817-682-6682. You can call or text me. We really look forward to seeing y'all back. Big part of our mission is your kids being at Fortress, and so we have all been looking forward to this day. And I also look forward to seeing y'all, the parents and grandparents and guardians of the children. Really missed seeing y'all. So I look forward to seeing y'all either tomorrow, which is Monday, August 31st, or seeing y'all September the 8th, which is a Tuesday. All right, y'all have a blessed day. Bye.